Hey everybody, this is James Pelton. I hope you're having a wonderful Wednesday. I am here with another team. CryptoLink.tech is the team. We're going to be talking through their project. And this is the first time, we just learned this is the first time Cletus and Wally have been on camera for the project. So thank you guys for unveiling your wonderful faces on the James Pelton AMA show. Appreciate you guys being here.
Thanks for having us.
Oh, yeah, you're very welcome. Before we get to Cletus and Wally, audience, welcome. Glad you guys are here. Again, you're more important than I am. I couldn't do what I do without you guys, so appreciate you guys. Please hit like as we're getting going here. That helps warm up the YouTube algorithm so it starts seeing, oh, wow, this must be a really cool video. So many people are hitting like on it. And also just comment hello. I just want to see who's here. We got John and Abe and Bob Dole. Bob, good to see you. Sorry about your tough luck against Bill Clinton in the 90s, but yeah, good to see you here. Glad you can make it for crypto. Good to see all you guys. If you have questions as we're going, please ask, and I'll kind of bring those up as they fit into our conversation. So, all right, Cletus and Wally, can you start out by giving us just quick introductions of yourself and kind of your background a little bit and how you got into where you're at?
Absolutely. So I'll go ahead. I'll go first. My name is Cletus. This is as James was saying, this is my first time on camera. So for those of you guys from the CryptoLink community who have heard me, this is the face behind the dinosaur avatar, behind the new profile picture. This is me. Hello, I'm here. What I do at CryptoLink, I am the COO. I manage the day-to-day operations, partnerships, pursuits, strategy, general sales, pretty much a little bit of everything. But try to keep things rolling. Sometimes I let out the dogs, so do that type of stuff. My personal background is in electrical engineering. I have an electrical engineering degree, so I'm a bit more on the technical side, but I am not a developer. So all those really crazy dev questions, I'll try to answer, but I might need to defer those to our founder and lead developer, Atlas, with that. But yeah, so I'm here. I'm happy to talk a little bit more about CryptoLink, how we are changing the overall space. And yeah, I'm really excited. Pass it off to you, Wally.
Yeah, perfect. My name's Wally. I've been with CryptoLink since about June of last year. That was the first project I got involved in the crypto space. My background is a little bit of things from all over the place. Educational background is in political science and history. For a long time, thought I wanted to be a lawyer. Got through the undergrad and decided that I'm not so sure 3 more years of this is for me right now, and another God knows how much in the hole. So I ended up going back into football. So growing up, I played a lot of football. Went to college and played football for a year at a small school before transferring to a larger school, and then got back into coaching. So I coached college football for 2 years at a Division II school up in Michigan in the NCAA. Very, very cool. And then came down here to South Carolina where I coach high school football and baseball. Was going to go down the teacher route because it's very easy to get a teaching certificate in the state of South Carolina right now. But then CryptoLink came about. So kind of decided to take this route for a short period of time to a long period of time, depending on where it takes us. And looks, after 8 months, we're here and we're rolling, and this thing's kind of turned into a full-time job for us. So that's kind of where we're at. It's been a really incredible ride.
Awesome. Well, I look forward to hearing more about that. And I connect a little bit with both of you because I actually did electrical engineering in school as well.
Nice.
So I have a circuit analysis book behind me and things like that. And then Wally, I also wanted to play football and wanted to be a football coach, but I was not good. So
hey man, you don't have to be good to coach. That's one thing I found out. Listen, I played at a small school in college before I hung the cleats up. So the talent, I wasn't ever going to play on Sundays or anything like that, man. But if you take some things from some of the great coaches you were around, you can learn a lot and become a good coach yourself.
Okay, well maybe you'll see that in the future. James Pelton, the football coach. Yes, and I think definitely a good move. Abe says, thanks, Wally and Cletus, for showing your faces. We were talking before the call that we just had so many, rug pulls and anonymous teams and things like that. So great to have you guys here. And Cyril hit it. Welcome, Cyril, by the way. But smash that like button. So
seen a few of Cyril's comments come up on the screen so far.
We love Cyril.
Love Cyril.
Shout out to Cyril.
Yes, he's a good guy. We'll keep him. So Again, let's assume that people watching, I know there's some people from your community here, but let's assume people have never heard of CryptoLink.tech. They've never heard, no idea what it is. Breaking down the barriers between blockchains. They know what blockchains are, they know what barriers are, but they don't know what breaking down those barriers means. Can you kind of give like an elevator pitch of what CyberLink is setting out to do?
Yeah, for sure. So what we do at CryptoLink is break down those barriers between blockchains. And really what that is we are solving the problem in the space of interoperability. There's currently an issue right now in DeFi, and that's the issue is it's hard to send value from chain to chain. It's very, very hard. It takes a lot of time to do so. And for those of your listeners, I want all of you to think about your first time bridging. How was it? Was it easy? Did it take a long time? 30 seconds? Was it 30 minutes? Was it an hour, 3 hours, 6 hours? Did your funds get lost? Personally, mine was from the Phantom blockchain to the Polygon blockchain. And it was overall a hassle. I had tokens on Phantom and I had to send them over to Polygon, but they were the same token. And it was really confusing because I had to learn which blockchain was which. And, they had to go and find a DEX. And the overall process was, for me, it probably took around a couple hours just to really take that leap of faith. And then when I did, I was quite disappointed with what I found with the traditional bridging infrastructure that's out there right now. And that's what CryptoLink does, is that we connect the blockchains that way, where we are building a cross-chain any-to-any swap DEX that's going to be able to swap any token on one blockchain for any token on another blockchain, where the user, from a user standpoint, they won't need to know what chain that they're on. They can just click a token and hit swap, and it will go from, let's say, Sphere on Polygon to Cake on BSC, all in one click. It eliminates all those different contract interactions that you have to worry about. You don't have to go to different platforms. It can all be done on the CryptoLink platform.
That's incredible. Yeah, no, Cyril, I can relate with this. Terrifying. That's how, well, the first time I bridged, I had never done it before. And it's like, well, I'll send just a little bit to make sure it works okay. And then you send it. And I think it might've been the same, something to Polygon or something. And it took longer than I thought. And I'm like, well, I guess that money's gone. And it is quite a hassle. So I definitely see the need for this. Jeremy says, it's awful. I like your guys' bridge. Only have used it a couple times, but works well. So, and I got stuck with any tokens on my very first bridging experience, all the way down the DeFi rabbit hole to start with. So yes, that's definitely the problem. Very good. And then here's the solution, any-to-any.io. Is this going to be one of your products, or are you guys doing a lot of products, or what does the ecosystem look like?
Yeah, I can take that one. So to really break it down, we have both B2C and B2B components. Our flagship service or product, if you will, is the any-to-any. So that's really what we want to be known for. That's what's going to push our name out far and wide initially, because it's for the consumer. There's a large base of consumers that can use this. So that's really what we're pushing right now. But we also have a B2B component where we'd like to spread the technology. We'd like to share it with other projects, other companies in the space that want to use it. We have tons of different ways to do that, but it's all going to revolve around the any-to-any gaining the traction. This is our flagship product, if you will.
Okay, gotcha. And then do you know when that is going to launch? Or I want to get into dates for all the stuff you're doing, but specifically this any-to-any, this is not running yet, correct?
Correct. Yeah. So the any-to-any is not yet up. So we are working with our auditing partners over at Prisma Shield. We've actually partnered with our auditing with Prisma Shield so that they can do 24/7 audits on all of our contracts. So that code right now is being finalized with them, where once it's all good and that audit is all passed, then the any-to-any swap DEX is going to be released. So we're thinking, I can't give dates because our engineering team will kill me if I do, because there's always this fight between engineering and marketing, where engineers they don't want to give you a date, and then marketers are like, hey, well, give me a date. But we're shooting for early February.
Okay. Yeah, no, I totally get that. Well, and in programming, I was talking with somebody the other day, but it's like when you're coding something, somebody asks you, "Hey, when are you going to be done?" It's like, well, if I figure out this bug, it could be in an hour, or I might have to rewrite everything from scratch and it'll take 3 months. So that's kind of
Yeah.
what you're stuck in.
That has been maybe my largest learning curve, getting involved in a tech company, which is not my background specifically. So working with developers and programmers and learning that barrier there between the marketing side and, hey, they can't always give you the dates you want. You know, that's not always possible. And that learning curve is something that you got to get over for sure when you're getting into Web3 specifically, dealing with Solidity and stuff like that.
Yep, absolutely. Abe would like to know, how much are the fees for bridging? How do you compare to if somebody was just doing it all manually themselves? Are the fees going to be similar, way more, less? How are the fees going to compare?
Yeah, so we do have a slide for that in that presentation or that PowerPoint deck that we sent over. Now the fees, we charge the same fees that any DEX does on our intrachain, where it's 0.3% for intrachain. Our cross-chain fee is 0.5%, and we charge a minimum of 25 cents per transaction. But our main claim to fame here is the speed, where we can bridge from any chain to any chain as fast as the blockchains can go. And typically that is anywhere between 3 and 30 seconds for cross-chain transfers.
Okay, so the speed is going to be the biggest selling point. So it might not save you a ton of money, but it's the speed is kind of the big selling point. And let's see,
Yeah,
Cyril.
speed and convenience for sure as well. The one click any to any as well. We'd like to add that in there as one of the major
Gotcha.
points. Yeah.
Okay, very cool. With all the hacks of bridge wallets that's happened in the recent years, I remember reading that any to any makes that risk obsolete. Can you elaborate on that?
Sure. Yeah. So traditional bridging infrastructure, what it has is it has something called bridging liquidity pools. And for the past 18 months or several months, years, what we have seen is a lot of bridges get exploited. And you can actually go to DeFi Llama right now and scroll through all the hacks on there. And you can see that a lot of them are bridge hacks. A lot of them are exploited liquidity. Sometimes you do have social engineering attacks as well. But from what we've seen with bridging hacks, bridging liquidity pools are a source of failure. Now, what we're doing at CryptoLink is that we have completely eliminated those bridging liquidity pools. We don't have them. What we do is we use a burn and mint method to transfer tokens on one blockchain. We burn it on the source chain, and then we mint it on the destination chain. So in order to do that, that is completely eliminating those bridging liquidity pools from one side to another. We can just burn and then mint. And then from there, we can then swap into the DEX liquidity pools that make that swap happen. So we completely eliminate that entire attack vector. It's impossible to drain our bridge liquidity because we don't have any bridge liquidity.
Okay, very good. Yeah, maybe I'm looking at the presentation here. Maybe you can walk us through a little bit more. The underlying magic, like what's happening. And then if you want to talk about the trustless bridging maybe we should talk about that first, the bridging as a service. So
Sure.
any to any makes sense, but can you kind of explain to us, this is another part of the ecosystem. What is this going to bring?
Yeah, absolutely. So this takes our base layer, right? What we built the paper bridge on top of. This takes it and makes it available to anybody else. So the paper bridge is essentially us. Atlas always uses the analogy eating our own dog food, right? So essentially build the cool thing and then build something on top of it that uses it as hey, proof of concept, this works, right? So the TBAS is that underlying layer of it's an Oracle layer essentially. What it's doing is it's sending and receiving signals across the blockchains instantly. And Atlas has found a pretty quick way to do that, pretty nifty way to do that. And so that's really what the magic is underneath. It's just signals and data. So we are sending and receiving data instantly between the blockchains.
Okay, very good. So then this is going to be something that projects use. Can you kind of explain how a project might use this? And you can use maybe
Absolutely.
just an example project or something.
Yeah. I mean, it can be used for any form of data cross chain. So it could be as simple as another project wants to take their token cross chain and they want to make it just like paper. They could do that with TBAS. They could make their token operate just like that, where it's a burn and mint, it's cross chain. We can take NFTs cross chain. Atlas built out an ERC 721 bridgeable extension. first to our knowledge, but maybe there are other ones, but we haven't seen them marketed too well if they are. And so we are able to send that our NFTs are cross-chain. That's our proof of concept for that extension. And then, like I said, any other data. So if there's a supply chain company that operates on one blockchain, but they need to get that data, or some other company needs to pull that data, but they operate on another blockchain, well, we can facilitate the transfer of that data instantly. That's kind of what we do, is what we're trying to build, this essentially omni-chain or chain agnostic realm, to where people don't have to fiddle with jumping through the hoops in your MetaMask or doing anything like that to switch chains, or figuring out, oh my goodness, how would I get this data from this chain to this chain? We're going to do that for you. And that's hopefully going to drive more mass adoption as well.
Interesting. Okay, no, very cool. Actually, I'm thinking about this because I just, Warbots is something that we just built. We have, some of them are on BSC, but then some of them are on Polygon, and the DApp. Maybe this is something that we could use to help kind of make that more simple.
Absolutely. And Atlas has said many times that the bridgeable NFT extension specifically is super easy to implement. So it's just an add-on to the code, and it makes it bridgeable to any EVM chains. So, and then we'll be going to non-EVM in the future as well. I'm sure we can touch on that at some point here.
Okay, very cool. I'm just thinking out loud, but maybe it'd be cool in the future, something about like allow extension or something that allows you to mint an NFT, any coin, any chain, and then it'll do all the routing to let you, because normally you say you need 500 USDC on Polygon.
We can already do that.
Oh,
and yes. So that is an aspect of trustless bridging as a service, where we can have cross-chain pre-sales, cross-chain mints. Any project that wants to, let's say, be able to accept any token for their NFTs, they can do so. Where if this NFT project is launching on, let's say, Polygon, for example, and they want to be able to accept either BNB or Phantom or USDC on Ethereum, even, we can enable that cross-chain transaction to occur, where everyone else who's picking up those NFTs, they can purchase it from those other chains and then have it mint on that original blockchain, on the Polygon blockchain. So we can do that right now for cross-chain mints.
There you go. That's why they pay you guys the big bucks, right? Is because you got way ahead of me on that. This was a good question. Sometimes we use words in crypto that we're just familiar with, but someone asked, what does it mean, trustless? So on the website, they're trustless bridging as a service. Can you kind of explain what the trustless means?
Yeah, trustless just means you don't have to trust us. We don't have the central point of failure for this system. Especially for TBAS specifically, TBAS was originally trustless from the get-go. Now, the any-to-any V2 that we were in the works of a few months ago wasn't trustless fully, but now with the bridge miners, it is trustless, and we can talk about that. That makes the any-to-any fully decentralized. But the TBAS always has. It's a line of code, and Atlas sets you up with it. And once you're running it, it's yours. And all the trust is on your protocol at that point, no longer on us. We're just providing you with the ability to go cross-chain, and we're taking fees on your cross-chain transfers. That's all we're doing.
Gotcha. Mountain Brother says, does that mean we can't trust them? No, trust it just means you don't have to trust them. You're trusting the code rather than trusting the person. It's all contract and coded in there. So there's no way that Cletus or Wally could jump in and take your funds mid transfer. So
it's also secured by our decentralized network, and Wally touched on this as well, by our decentralized network of bridge miner validator nodes. So not only is it trustless, but it's also 100% decentralized in that manner, where CryptoLink, even if we wanted to, we couldn't halt and say, hey, well, that transaction is ours now. We can't do that. It's 100% trustless in that manner, where if a transaction is sent through and our validators go ahead and approve it, it's going to go through the bridge and be sent through.
Gotcha. And MVP would also like to know if you're brothers.
No, we are not. We are not biological brothers. No.
Okay. Brothers in business. That's what we'll say.
There we go. Yes.
Awesome. Okay, and let's go back to the white paper. Thank you for explaining the TBAAS. So that'll be another revenue stream for you guys. And as we go through, we'll kind of talk about that. Here are the fees that you were talking about. I did find that slide. So again, that's going to be a revenue stream. So I want people to take note of the revenue streams, because at some point we're going to get to, here's how you can make money off of it. And the question is going to come up, well, where's the revenue? So we're doing the revenue first, and then we'll talk about that. So don't forget. Okay, let's see. Can you talk about the rewards and let's just get into it. How can people make money from this?
Absolutely. Yeah, so there's multiple ways that people can earn passive income with CryptoLink. These four ways right here is one of those options where we have different liquidity pools set up to be able to enable the cross-chain transactions. And these are the DEX liquidity pools that I mentioned earlier. Now we give 10% back in blockchain native coins for all of these. So we're not rewarding you in our paper token or any other token that we mint out of thin air. We are rewarding everybody with blockchain native gas coins. So for example, here it says paper native, where native is that native blockchain token or that native blockchain coin. On Polygon, that'd be paper matic. On Phantom, that'd be paper FTM. So for our standard LP, anybody who wants to deposit liquidity into our cross-chain any-to-any swap DEX, we get back 10% of all of the DEX fees to that pool back in, like I said before, blockchain native coins. 5% goes to our Inc native LP. Inc is one of the other tokens that we have. It is our governance token. 20% goes to our bridge miner validator nodes. This is what we think is the most lucrative, where our bridge miners, they help us decentralize our network, and we want to be able to award them for being able to do so. This is typical for any type of proof of stake network, like you see like on Ethereum, for example. But for us, what they're validating is not an overall network. We don't have a chain that's running in the background. They are validating each individual bridging transaction as they are sent across. So we get back 20% for our bridge miner validator nodes. And then lastly, 5% is what we call source rewards. And this is for any project that wants to host our DEX widget on their site. Or if there's another DEX out there that just wants to enable their DEX to be a cross-chain any-to-any swap DEX, they could tie into our DEX in the background. And then through all of the cross-chain fees that are sent through us, we would give them that 5% as a source reward for doing so.
Okay, very cool. Nope, that makes a lot of sense. So yeah, so we'll talk about this here in a little bit. I want to talk more about the miners, how people can get involved with that, how people should think about if they should get in paper native or ink native. I do want to talk about some of that. Looking through the comments, Cyril has a good question. He's a good question asker. Let's ask this.
Yes.
Just to make sure we understand how the TBAAS works. So say I have a project that I want to take cross-chain, what upfront costs would there be to my project, and how long does it take to onboard once any-to-any is live?
So the cost upfront is zero. For TBAS, we don't charge any upfront. Again, the point of this is to spread this technology far and wide. We charge on our bridging fee, right? It's no different than what we do with our any-to-any. If you take something cross-chain, we're going to take a small fee anytime someone bridges it. But there is no upfront cost to the project. If they want to build it in from the start, it's free. That's why we want to work with launchpads would be great. NFT launchpads or any sort of project that is maybe trying to build in this NFT creation process for, an easy couple click process for users to be able to create their own NFT collection. Well, you can just click a button that adds in the cross-chain utility, and it's of no cost to the NFT creator. Right. So that's the beautiful thing of TBAS is that we're not charging anyone up front for it.
Love it. Always love that, especially as a project. I'm working on my own projects right now. And again, my mind is just, how could I use this? So love that there's no upfront cost. And yeah, I was going to say too, on your rewards here, I want to note for people that these are all rewards that are going to be generated from somewhere. So like you said, you're not minting these. You're not promising any sort of rewards. These are going to be the collected fees, fees distributed, collected fees.
Straight off the top in blockchain native, what we take as a fee is what you're going to get. So you're not getting paper token and you're not getting ink token.
Love it. Again, that's the only way to make it not Ponzi-nomics is to pay the fees. So love it. Let's talk about competitors. That's a question that's come up a couple times. Who are currently the biggest competitors? I'm going to skip ahead a little bit to this. And what do you guys do kind of differently than them?
Yeah, sure. So I think that this slide really breaks it down quite well, breaks down our competition, and it breaks it down into different categories here. So there's different bridges in the space right now. We have your traditional bridges, you have your semi-traditional bridges like Elk, then you have other projects that have cross-chain communication like XLR and Layer 0, where this breaks down how we're different. Now, multi-chain, for example, this is probably what everyone is most familiar with. They don't have an in-house bridge and DEX. Well, we do. They also don't have seamless transfers. They're not trustless or decentralized. They don't have a node network, not instant, and they don't reward in blockchain native coins. Last time I checked, which was a couple weeks ago. So maybe something's changed since the recording's out. Let me know. But that is multi-chain. But for these other networks here, like Elk, they use something for an overall a pool where they let tokens in and then release them out, where it doesn't have these seamless transfers. You got to go ahead and swap into a DEX. XLR and Layer 0, those are larger protocols where they don't. I have not seen an any-to-any swap DEX that is that uses the XLR or Layer 0 technology that has been released yet. So I can't say that those projects have that technology for an any-to-any swap DEX. I believe that they might be working on something like that, but since that's not yet been released, that to my knowledge, I can't comment on their any-to-any swap DEXs. But now I can say in terms of speed, I believe Stargate is a cross-chain stable coin bridge that sends tokens cross-chain from anywhere between, I've seen it as fast as 2 minutes to as slow as 30 minutes plus. So the speeds are still slower. XLR, like I said, I can't comment on that because I don't know of any swaps that are out there. But that is a little bit about what they do. Some of them do have nodes, like how we do, the bridge miner validator nodes. But what we do is we have all of them at once.
Okay, very good. And then I want to scroll down. Let's see. Let's go down to, I love your NFA estimates. I love this.
Yeah.
I'm a spreadsheet guy, and I love you say not financial advice. I got to get that banner going. So this is not like this is what you're going to make. But can you kind of talk us through here again? Sometimes people see charts like this, they're just like, I don't know what I'm looking at. Can you kind of just walk us through it a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So we just have, blue box, low estimates, green box, medium, orange box, top 10. And these are in terms of DEX volume or bridging volume, right? So this is just comparing us to something, one of the bridges on the lower end versus some of the bridges on the higher end. And then it has, a minor assumption of how many bridge miners would be on the chain at that daily volume, and how many active NFTs. We're making a few different assumptions here, right? And then from those assumptions and the daily volume, we could spit you out some mock APRs is essentially what we can do. Now, again, there's so many variables at play here. So that's what we always like to let people know. And that's the important thing to know about these sheets, is that this wasn't as simple as plug in daily volume and we got every other number. It didn't work it's not that cool. It's pretty cool, but it would be awesome if we could do that, but it's that's not possible. And anybody that tells you that they can do that is, they're lying, because they can't promise you a daily volume. They can't promise you anything. So there needs to be lots of variables inputted into the equation. And then we can spit out some possible APRs and things like that. What we're really trying to show here is that, we're looking at sustainable APR numbers. And this is, I think, assuming, what is our bridge miner stake on the low estimates there, Cletus? Do you know what we're assuming in that box? We've been looking at the new spreadsheet so many times that it's been a while.
I'm looking at it. So
25K. There we go.
Yep,
that's assuming a
25K
miner stake. Okay, so that's a tier 2 miner, right? So if we, I don't know if James has the other Excel sheet. That would be the better one, I think, to throw up in terms of the NFA estimates, just because we can toy with the numbers in there, and James could maybe put in some estimates that he thinks of.
I can send it his way in Discord.
Yeah, that's a really good one. About this. Yeah, absolutely. That one's a really good one, because we actually, you could type in some different numbers. Looks a little bit different. Cletus is also a spreadsheet guy. That's his thing, man. So yeah, he gets in the lab with the spreadsheets and he creates these masterpieces. So this one might have been actually Atlas, but the one that Cletus made is phenomenal as well. So, But yeah, what we're trying to show is sustainable numbers and lots of variables. Lots of variables.
Yes. Nope. I think that makes a lot of sense. So yeah, again, most of the revenue is going to be dependent, like you said, on the amount of volume. So the amount of people swapping, just so people understand. So that's going to be kind of one of your main ones is going to be daily volume. And that's going to be one that is what CryptoLink doesn't necessarily have control over. A lot of the other stuff you can kind of control. That's going to be harder. It's going to be just based on marketing and adoption and things like that. And then these are kind of
partnerships that we make to be able to tie into other DEXs out there, or DEX aggregators, which we can talk about that in a bit.
Yes, would love to do that. And so then this is kind of what the revenue would look like based on those numbers. Can you kind of talk about what are you planning on doing with the treasury? I just noticed, expecting potentially a very large treasury here. What are your guys' plans for the treasury?
Yeah, so our treasury plans are to be as sustainable as possible. What we really want to do is to funnel that into liquidity to deepen our liquidity pools. Now, there's another slide on this that shows the revenue breakdown as to where all that revenue is going. I believe it might be like a slide or two down. But what that's doing is really, you can see a large chunk of our revenue is going to be going towards liquidity. In that sense, to be able to bolster additional liquidity. So, for example, if there's some chains that we're not yet launched on, and there's a demand for that chain, we could just set up shop and drop a bunch of liquidity on that chain from our treasury and say, okay, cool, this chain is now activated into the cross-chain any-to-any swap network, where now, cool, you can swap into it and out of it from any token to any token, and it can go right in there.
Okay. Very good. Love it. Okay. Thank you for clarifying that. This is nice. Yes. You guys got good charts on here. So revenue distribution, I like that. Let's talk about the bridge miners. So I think people understand pretty easily, going back up to your where money goes. People understand liquidity pool, tokens and pools pretty well. Understand this pretty well. Can you explain the bridge miners a little bit more? Like, what does that entail? How do people get set up with those? What exactly do those do? And can you just explain those a little bit more?
Yeah, absolutely. So our bridge miners it's comprised of 4 different layers of miners. We will run one, no stake, no reward. We're not earning anything on it, just security based. Prisma Shield, our auditors will run one. We'll call that proof of reputation, because if they lie, then no one's going to want to audit with them because they're liars. And then we'll have any of our TBAS clients will also run a miner as well. No stake, no reward. Then that leaves our 4th layer, which is the community layer, or the proof of stake layer, which is, you'll stake liquidity in paper native, which enables larger liquidity, larger swaps on our cross-chain DEX. And by doing so, you're going to run a bridge miner, you're going to validate transactions, and you're going to earn blockchain native coins as a reward for that. You will have to run a software. It is a node. You don't have to have we're not sending you a physical piece of hardware or anything like that. It's very lightweight. It can be ran on a Raspberry Pi 4. Atlas suggests at least a PC or something like that, just because it's easier, or even a VPS, just to make sure your internet doesn't go down or something like that, is probably the best route. But it's just a few lines of code. It's fairly simple, but all you're going to be doing is validating those bridge transactions and earning the blockchain native coin on the chain that you're on back as a reward.
Okay. And that might be something that I can maybe do a video in the future showing, hey, here's how you set up mine. It can sound intimidating, but then a lot of times it's really not that difficult.
It's going to be very, very simple. Now, if you're running on a laptop or a desktop, it's just something as simple as clicking the executable file, and then it will go ahead and run. So we want to make this as easy as possible for anyone to run a miner, where if they're running a no cost or a no stake, no reward miner, you can just spin it right up. If they are doing it with the proof of stake, then that means that they're earning that reward. All they need to do in addition to earn that reward is just to stake to that liquidity pool on that given chain. So if they are a Polygon miner, for example, they would need to stake to on the Polygon chain to that miner pool. Now, this is what you're showing right here. This is the rewards distributions, where again, we reward 20% straight off the top to our bridge miners, and this is on a per chain, per miner stake basis, where the rewards are a bit more lucrative for those who secure the early tiers. In the scenario here, it's assuming that that tiers 1, 2, and 3 are sold out on the Polygon blockchain, and CryptoLink is generating 300,000 24-hour volume on the Polygon chain. This is what the different tiers would look like. Now, for tiers 1, 2, and 3, now for those of you guys who are watching in the CryptoLink community, our first tier is our Genesis tier. That's not shown here. But for our tier 1, this is the 25K staked, where throughout each one of the tiers, whoever's being a bridge miner is being rewarded that same amount for each one of those tiers. But the rewards come in is that the APRs for each one of those is going to be relatively higher for the miners that secure the earlier positions. So for a tier 1 miner, given that volume, the volume is very important here, because that's what all this hinges on, is volume. Given that volume, they'd be receiving that 26K back, and that's a relative APR of 107%. Now for tier 2, they'd be receiving that same amount back, but the APR would be lower relative to their stake. And likewise with the tier 3, you can start to see the pattern here. It's the same way, 100K staked. For that, the APR would be 27%, but they are earning the same amount of rewards.
Okay. And is this the like the minimum amount they would need to get that going then for each tier? And is it going to be the same on each chain?
Yes. So each chain starts with our Genesis tier, and our Genesis tier is really what gets that chain kind of kick-started and going. That has a stake of only 10K, and then it jumps to tier 1, which is what a majority of the chains are probably going to be at for a bit. That's at the 25K. Once that tier is filled up, then it keeps on progressively increasing to 50K and then 100K for a stake in order to get a bridge miner.
Okay. No, and that makes sense. So, and just so people understand, my guess why you're doing it that way is because it's way riskier jumping in Genesis, getting in before it's even launched or anything like that. You're taking way more of a risk, and so you don't have to put in as much, and you get, the same amount of reward. Whereas if you wait and, okay, now this is an established project that a lot of people are using, you can see the 24-hour volume, how much you're going to be getting. Then if you wait to get in, you're just going to get a lower APR because there's less risk. So it's all just risk reward ratio, basically. And Cyril stole my question, is how many miners have been filled out? Are you guys full on Genesis, and how many different chains? I mean, are you talking about every chain? If I want to get, a Genesis Arbitrum chain, or what are the options there?
Yeah. So for our Genesis chains, for our 6 main chains, we are sold out on our Genesis tier miners, and that is Phantom, Avalanche, Polygon, Binance, Chronos, and Metis. So that's those 6 chains. But for all other chains that are out there, we are open to Genesis miners. So really, CryptoLink can launch on any chain that the community wants us to launch on, as long as we have miners for that given chain. If there was a community that came together and said, hey, well, we have a few projects that want to launch miners on Ethereum. So we're not yet on Ethereum. If they want to do so, absolutely. We can launch on Ethereum and get miners going there. For Arbitrum, same idea. There's communities that want us to go to Arbitrum. Let's spin up some miners. We can go to Arbitrum.
How many do you need before you can start running on that chain? Like, can you do it with just like 2
minimum
or 3?
Of 3. Yep, 3 is 3. Yeah, and that's, technically we could have decided any number. Atlas chose 3 because that was the bare minimum for him to feel comfortable with the level of decentralization. And even then, he says it's not fully decentralized, but it's a start, and it's a good way to get a chain going. So
yeah, because I guess if you have 2 and they disagree, what do you do?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
you need consensus, so you need at least 3.
Correct.
Great. And Cyril says, "Oh wow, you guys have been making moves, having already sold those out." So yeah, great work hustling, and again, that's a huge part of it. So
yeah.
Can you, Abe would like to know, are any of these rewards ready now? So how soon after, I assume that you're going to have to wait till the swap is ready before you're going to be getting any rewards. How soon after that do you think that people will start receiving rewards, like if they grab a miner right now?
So for bridge miner rewards, I don't know if we mentioned this, but this is really cool. It's going to be real time right off the top of every transaction. So, James, if you were to go use the any to any on Polygon and you were to bridge from Polygon to BSC, that fee that you paid, 20% of that fee is going right back to those Polygon miners, right off the top, distributed right in their wallets. Done. Magic.
Okay, very cool. No, that's pretty awesome. I love that. Can you remind us again, which chains are available with Genesis miners right now?
Yeah, right now for Genesis, we're looking at Cello, Oasis, and Harmony, I believe. Am I missing one, Cletus? And Gauss, when Gauss launches. Yes. So I don't know if we mentioned this. We are partnered with Gary over at Gauss. We worked with them to be one of their sponsored bridging solutions when they launch. That's non-USDC. And so we're going to be launching miners. I know we have some interest from some of our community, some of their community already, but I think we might be still looking for maybe one or two when that happens. But yeah, when they launch, we're going to be going there as well. Yep.
Okay. And rewards are going to be based on the volume on that particular chain, right? So it's not overall rewards. It's going to be the rewards that you're actually helping do the validation for. You're going to receive. Okay.
Correct. Yes.
Very cool. And then we had some people, I'd be down to set up a miner. If somebody wants to get started with this or wants to do, what's the best way for them to do that? Just hop in Discord and chat with you that way?
Yep. Yeah, so we are pretty much on around the world, around the pretty much every single time zone. So we always have someone on. I know that Wally and I are on a lot. When we're not, it's either Atlas or we have Pista as well. So pretty much all you got to do is just go ahead and take out a ticket in our Discord. Our main community is on Discord, so I would recommend checking us out there. As for just general updates and stuff too, you can contact us on Twitter. We actively check our Twitter all the time. So both those two areas would be a good place to contact us. But I would recommend Discord though.
Yeah.
Okay, and I put a link to the Discord down below. And so quick question, just for me as I'm thinking through it. Is it possible for someone to do like part of a miner? Like obviously when you get to 100K, there's not a lot of people that are like, oh yeah, I've got 100K sitting around. I'd love to do that. Is there a way to do like partial staking? Is that something in the future, or I don't know? You guys thought about that?
Great question. Yeah, absolutely. We have for sure thought about that. And there's definitely ways. So if there's a community or a project or James say for example, your Discord says, hey, we're interested and you want to fractionalize one. We have a solution for it. It's not through us. We didn't build it, but we do have some pals over at Cardinal House that did build one of those. And they're willing to work with other projects and other communities on a case-by-case basis for bridge miners specifically. So that's just something that if you approached us and we said, hey, we don't have it in our treasury. I have a group of people that want to break this into pieces. We have solutions for that. We don't want that to turn anyone off right away.
Okay. So if I built my own NFT collection and raised 50K, I could run the validator on my computer and give you guys the okay. So we could do it that way. So maybe we'll talk something about that. Awesome. Love it. And then this is bothering Geno Miner, which maybe because miner's in his name, but he says these are not miners, they are nodes.
Yes, we call them bridge miner validator nodes. So we
just cover everything, man.
Yeah, we do encompass
something new. I mean, we know that some projects call them relayers, but again, it's at the end of the day, what we told you what the tech is. We told you what they do. You can see what they do. It'll also be in the audit that they'll say yes, they do what they said they do. So the tech's there. What we market it as is just trying to get people's attention, right? And I mean, marketing has been a very interesting ride in DeFi, especially on the downturn since June. I mean, really since Terra, it's just been terrible trying to market even a great product. And so what we had to do is try to come up with creative ways to grab people's attention and say, hey, get in a conversation with us once we tell you about the tech, and you get in a conversation, a talk with our dev, and you talk with our partners and things like that. It's a no-brainer for a lot of people. So, that's it. words like bridge, we're trying to get away from that because people don't like the word bridge anymore. You say we're a new bridge and people immediately turn off. So yeah, it's all marketing type stuff with that. Maybe if that really does bother a lot of people, that's something we'll look into. It's not like we gotta call them miners. But
yeah, well, nodes have gotten a bad rap in DeFi, so I totally get. They're not just Ponzi-nomic nodes where it's just taking money from one person, giving it to another person, but they're actually doing validations or validator nodes. So yeah, no, makes sense. What use does Ink have apart from governance?
Ink, other than government, it gets the 5% back. So Ink's like a little bit. That's our old school token. That's our OGs. Like everyone that got in way early into when we were still called Printer Financial at one point. Before we had any of the any-to-any dreams, we just had the bridge. That was around as our governance token. It's still going to be our governance token. We're rewarding our Ink holders with that 5% back to the Ink pools as well. And that's more of a community-based thing. That's because those people, anybody who holds Ink right now, has been around for forever, pretty much. That's kind of just how it works. And so we're trying to reward our original community, things like that.
Yeah, and there's also another utility to Ink as well, and that's through our cross-chain NFT collection. So I don't think that we ended up mentioning this just yet, but we do have a cross-chain NFT collection called the Cross-Chain Cosmonauts. And what it is these NFTs, their main utility is to give DEX discounts straight off the top of the DEX, where with that, these NFTs can be stacked to earn up to 100% off of our DEX fees. So yes, we said it, you can trade for free with these NFTs. There's 3 different tiers to them. One's called, our lowest tier is called Spacebound. This is our most common tier. Second one is called Solar Traveler. And our rarest or most elusive tier is called Interdimensional Explorer. Now, all these NFTs, they are random mint, meaning that we never know which one that you're going to get. Even on our end, we have no idea. It's fully randomized where you could get a Spacebound or you could get an Interdimensional Explorer NFT. Now, in order to activate these NFTs, you need to zap in or to burn 100 Ink on the chain that it's minted on. So for every single NFT that is minted, 100 Ink is going to be burned. And then what this does is it activates the NFT to be able to provide those cross-chain discounts. And it's cool too, because we're using our own tech, that TBAS technology that we touched on earlier, to be able to have these NFTs be fully cross-chain. Now, if you're on Polygon, for example, and you hold a Binance NFT, that doesn't mean that you don't get those discounts. All you need to do is to bridge your NFT to the source chain that you want to have those discounts on. And once that NFT is residing in that source chain, then you can get those DEX discounts to be able to bridge for whatever percentage you have off, or even for free if you stack enough NFTs to be able to have 100% off DEX fees.
Okay, very good. So you can mint these right now. Is that correct?
Right now, yep. So
okay.
They're available right now on the Polygon and Binance chain. And then as the any-to-any launches, we'll be releasing those other NFTs, but we don't have a date on that yet for the releasing of other NFTs.
Gotcha. Yeah, and I know you're working on the website and changing some different things. Are any of these are these compounders available right now for people to use, or not quite yet?
Nope. So those compounders, you can think of those as legacy. We used to have compounders when we were giving token emissions. So just recently, as of January 1st, 2023, we have stopped printing our own token. We don't print the paper token anymore. We don't print the ink token anymore. It is now fully deflationary in that aspect, where there's never going to be any more paper that's ever printed and emitted for the general, or for anybody. There's a 50 million cap for paper. And for ink is capped at 100,000 per chain. But since we ended those emissions earlier, actually ink is a little bit less than that. Some chains it's around 90, and other chains it's probably around like 60 or something. But we stopped all those emissions, and we've seen that in our token price. Actually, the direct result of stopping emissions, where it's things have been going up since January 1st on our paper token. So as a direct result of us stopping emissions, we have seen some increases in that aspect. I think it's up like 400%.
I see. Looks like Dan in the comments had a really good question that I want to touch on. He asked if you can bridge ink over to activate a cross-chain cosmonaut. You cannot bridge ink, so I want to make that quite clear. Ink is non-bridgeable. Only paper is bridgeable. So if you get a Polygon NFT, you do need to activate that Polygon NFT with Polygon ink before you take it anywhere to use it. That's the one caveat there.
Okay, thanks for answering that.
Yeah.
Could I just a curiosity again? Could you kind of explain just a little bit of your journey in CryptoLink and how how you started and what, again, don't take too much time. We don't have a ton of time left here, but how you kind of got to the point where you're at? Did this any to any just kind of spark at some point, or is this always your plan? Or just tell us a little bit about your journey.
Yeah, sure. So CryptoLink started as Printer Financial back in February 2nd, 2022 is when we initially launched on the Phantom blockchain. And the overall goal of the project is to break down the barriers between the blockchains. We wanted to enable seamless transfers from day one to be able to get tokens from any one chain to any other chain. And really when we launched, we had what we call a V1 or a demo. And we've had that around since about February and have been keeping that up until around recently when we just stopped those emissions. So from between February and now, we've had that demo out for everybody to use our technology, to build a community, to be able to see how fast our bridging technology really is, and to be able to showcase that not only to our community, but to the rest of DeFi. And so, like I said, our bridging speeds are between 3 and 30 seconds. Anyone can go into our Discord and verify that. So, if you're new, show up in the Discord and say, hey, I'm new here, send me some free paper. You can go ahead and try our bridge. We will just give you some paper to try for free. And if it's any slower, let us know, because it's not going to be slower.
Okay, very good. Love it. Okay. Well, as we kind of wrap up here, do you feel like we've covered all the different parts of the ecosystem that you want to touch on, or anything that we missed that you think we should cover better?
I don't know did we cover the lending on the NFTs? Did I miss did that just skip over my brain?
Oh, I have not.
We did not cover that, and we also didn't cover the cross-chain wars aspect either.
Yeah, so I'll touch on both of those real quick. I saw a comment in there from the Love Toy, who's in our community, saying that you only need a max of 5 NFTs for 100% off. That is true. But the one thing you can do with the NFTs as well that we've built into the platform is a very cool lending system. So you'll be able to rent it out to anybody. You'll be able to put your NFT up on our page. You'll be able to put in parameters for what token you want as payment, how much, what your time frame is for lending it out to that person, and then someone can come in and rent that NFT out. It's a quick exchange. It's just they send the money to you, and once that happens through the contract, they get your NFT's benefits. They don't get your NFT. So for the allotted time, they get the benefits like the discounts and things like that your NFT has, but they don't actually get the actual piece of NFT or whatever, anything like that. We're not taking it out of your wallet or anything. We're just going to deactivate your perks, activate perks for that wallet for the time slot, and then once the lending period's over, it switches back. So that's a really cool way to kind of use the NFTs to your advantage. When those things start to take off a little bit and you have more than 5, and you might want 5 for your own purpose of 100% off, but you also might want to lend some. It's just another avenue for making some passive income.
Okay, awesome. So you can lend the NFTs. So, I mean, you could buy 10 and lend 5 of them out, or also I assume these will be available to buy on third-party markets. So, price might go up as any to any, gets more popular. You would assume that the NFTs that make it cheaper to use would probably go up in price as well. So not totally bad idea to buy more than the 5, but you only need the 5 for the 100% discount.
Correct.
Now, there's one other thing about the NFTs as well, where not only do they give discounts on the DEX fees, but they also give discounts on TBAS, or Trustless Bridging as a Service. So other projects would it be in their best interest to pick up some NFTs if they wanted to have stackable discounts for trustless bridging as a service as well, where we give them our messaging layer technology, where they could do cross-chain mints. They could have cross-chain NFTs that, these cross-chain NFTs could be in GameFi, for example, where if there's a game and maybe every single chain could be a different universe or a different planet, but you wanted to have them all sync together between chains, we can do that. And the cross-chain NFTs, or for our NFTs, would be able to provide that project discounts on what we charge for them. So there's many different ways that projects could play it, or that the standard DeFi users could play it as well, where DEX fees or TBAS, lending, the whole 9 yards there. And there's one other thing about them too that I keep on thinking of things for them, where the NFTs are going to have benefits for the amount of times that they're bridged across the blockchains, where the more times that the NFTs are bridged around, the higher potential chance that you can get an airdrop. So we provide random airdrops to those who bridge around our NFTs the most, where this could be anything from possibly a Cardinal House DAG node NFT, where we'd airdrop to you. We actually rewarded one of our NFT holders with that already. It was the first person to ever mint our highest tier, that Interdimensional Explorer. They received a passive income NFT that we then airdropped to them. So that is another aspect of the NFTs, is that they're eligible for these airdrops and just passive income rewards.
Okay. All right. Very cool. Pocket Aces says, "Hey, CryptoLink, nice to see you guys on camera." Pocket Aces is everywhere.
Hey, Justin. How are you doing?
He's everywhere.
He's awesome, man.
It's just crazy.
I don't know how he has that all the time in the day. You're not kidding. He is on every YouTube engagement ever in our corner of DeFi. You can't find one without him. So
yeah.
Shout out to you, Pocket Aces.
Anytime I talk about any project, he's like, "Oh yes, they are this and they're doing this," and I'm like, "Oh, that's good to know." Right. Did you want to talk about crypto wars? I mean, I love wars. Or you mentioned something else. You had two things you want to talk about: the NFTs,
so cross-chain wars. That's kind of what he touched. He touched on that a little bit. That's what we're calling the competitions for the airdrops. So it'll be chain-based, right? So what our goal is in the long term. This is going to be something we're going to build out in the future. It's not quite in the front of our mind as we're getting the any-to-any launch, but once we get that launched out and we're building out our marketing, that's going to be one of the first things to reward our community, is finding ways to keep track of how many people bridge and what the source chain of that NFT was, because what we'd also like to do is maybe make it competitive from a team perspective, where all the Binance NFTs, no matter where they end up, if they bridged more times than the Polygon NFTs, will airdrop all the Binance NFTs something, right? So there's different ways we're doing it. We're just kind of calling it an all-encompassing cross-chain wars for now, until we kind of build that out a little bit further.
Gotcha. Nope, that makes a lot of sense. So what I want to end with is, I'm a marketing guy. I love calls to action to end. So I'll give what I think are some call to actions. You guys can, say what you think as well. First off, hit the like button. It's free. I'm going to start with the free calls to action, because there's no reason not to do those. Hit the like button. That will help get this out to more people. If you missed part of it, the replay will be available right when we're done here. I'll put in chapters to kind of help you skip along to the questions that matter. Hop into the Discord for CryptoLink. I just put a link to Discord there. Hop in and just say hi. Again, it's free. There's not really any reason not to do it. Next, after that, is you can mint. These NFTs are available right now, and I'll show you guys that you can mint them. Let me get, is that the right website? Or it should be /mint, I think, maybe. Whatever, it's somewhere there on that website is the mint there.
Yeah,
if you just go to CryptoLink.tech,
right
it'll auto take you right to the NFT page. If you just go to CryptoLink.tech in your URL.
Okay, perfect. Great. So you can mint these NFTs, which we just spent quite a bit of time talking about. Then if you're wanting to get one of the validators, miners, nodes, whatever we're going to call them, if you want to get one of these, create a ticket in Discord, or even if I assume you might have more questions about these. So go into the Discord and just ask, say, hey, can you remind me which chains are available? Is a tier 1 Ethereum available? And just, ask some of those questions. And you can buy in there as well. So those would be my call to actions. You guys have anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, for the bridge miners, just one clarification on that. Now, that money that's staked, that is yours. CryptoLink is never taking that money and locking that.
Yes.
It can also be withdrawn at any time. So there's no period in time where CryptoLink says, "Oh yeah, okay, well this is a 25K miner, that this is ours." It never is. It's always yours. It always stays yours.
Okay,
Wanna make
that's
that
actually
clear.
a really important clarification. So thank you for mentioning that. What is that going to be staked in?
That's going to be staked in our paper native. So it's zapped in as paper native, where native is the native blockchain gas coin on that chain. So Polygon, it'd be paper Matic. On Binance, it'd be paper BNB. Once we're on Ethereum, it'd be paper ETH.
Okay, so if you guys are paying attention too, you might notice that as these validators start getting filled up, the price of paper, there's a chance that it could appreciate over time here. So, just something to keep in mind, not financial advice, but those are the different ways to get involved. And yeah, stay tuned for the staking. Should be available for, not if you have the 25K, but just for normal amounts as well soon, right? I assume as soon as any is available.
Yeah, as soon as the any to any is available, the staking will be available as well. And what we're doing is we're onboarding right now, because we're not launched. It's kind of pre-launch phase where people want in, and if you want in, we'll reserve a spot. We'll sign an MOU on both sides, and we'll have a date that I think it's 2 days before the official launch of the platform. We're going to do a little bit of a stealth launch for our miners, make sure our miners get in the proper slots that they reserve, so nobody gets screwed, because it is blockchain and it's a contract. So once the contract's launched, in theory, anybody can swoop in. So we're not going to tell anybody other than our miners that are signed and reserved and ready to go in the order that they need to be told. So if you want to get a miner, we'll reserve it. We're totally cool with it. We're going to sign an MOU and we'll get rolling. So don't worry about that. Yep, absolutely.
Okay. Awesome. Very cool. Well, thank you. First off, thank you, audience. Appreciate you guys so much. I need you guys so much. So appreciate what you do. Please hit like on your way out. Cletus and Wally, thank you very much. I think this is, I like this. I don't think you're going to rug pull. It's sad that that's where we're at as a space, is that's like the number one. It's a successful project if you don't rug pull us. But that's where we're at. So appreciate you guys hopping on camera, talking through this. Reach out if there's anything I can do to help you in the future, get tweets out, YouTube shorts, things like that. There's chance maybe I get a validator set up and get a video for it. Ideas are coming to me as we speak. So appreciate you guys, and let me know if I can help with anything.
For sure, James. Yeah, we really appreciate you having us on. It's been a pleasure. It's been great. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks, man. I've been following you for a long time now. It's cool to come full circle and actually end up on James Pelton's YouTube channel. So that's kind of a nifty thing. So thank you, James, for having us. And again, thank you to all the audience. You guys are awesome. Show up in the Discord and just ask questions, man. We're around all the time. Ping me, whatever. You can tag me all hours of the day. I don't care. So we're
awesome.
Good and ready to talk. Thanks,
awesome, guys. Yeah, I appreciate you guys. And yeah, everybody have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much.
Cheers, everybody.